Alright YouTube, we're back again. We're fixing to get into tying the body of the net. We've got the throat tied. If you look here you can see we've got a mesh taken up. This is the first one that I tied to take up the mesh. Hey, before we get into it though, if you find these videos informative, insightful, helpful in any way, please like, subscribe to the videos or to the channel, hit that bell button to get notifications. But and there's another video on tying the throat and kind of some math behind it. The reason that we do a multiple of 6 when we tie, I've got the camera at a little bit different angle. It's right in front of me this morning, so this is going to be kind of awkward for me. But this is our throat. This is where we start taking meshes up. This is the first that I tied, the first mesh that I tied to pull to decrease the mesh size. All right, remember that. So I'm gonna start here. This is where I'm gonna start. Now the throat, when you tie the throat, you always come back a full mesh from where you start decreasing your mesh size. This counts as part of the throat. Okay? So this is where I'm gonna start. Now what I'm doing this morning is, this is all the body of the net. This is all the outside of the net, and this is where the inside of the net starts to taper for the inside for the throat. So I'm going to tie back into the outside. I'm going to tie back into the outside so I can continue tying my 60 mesh runs for the outside of the net. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stick my needle through here. So I'm going to tag into my string. Set it on that knot, and then tie me a double sheet bend. Okay, now we're tied back into the net. I had to adjust my camera a little bit. Maybe we can see a little bit better here what we're doing. So what we've done, just in line with this mesh, see there, in line with this mesh here, we just tied back in. Okay, now we're going to go just like we were tying webbing, any other sheet of webbing. Okay, let me see if I can get the board out of the way. It's going to be hard to tell like this. We're going to just come around. We're going to come over to our next, pick our next mesh up. Okay, we'll just pick up our next mesh. Just like we would with any other sheet of webbing. Tie our double sheet bend. Okay. Now we got a whole mesh on we got a mesh on the board. We're going to come over to our next mesh. We're going to do that and go all the way around the net. Okay, we're just going to go all the way around the net like this. And these are all double sheet bend knots. I tie a double sheet bend. A single sheet bend works for most applications. And a double sheet bend is probably overkill for a lot of things. I always tie a double sheet bend because it's force of habit. I tied a whole net one time, whole set of webbing in, I can't remember what size mesh it was. I don't remember what it was, but the whole sheet of webbing got loose from single sheet bend knots. And I swore that I would never tie single sheet bends again. And it probably had more to do with the quality of the string that I was using than the knot itself. So we just keep on until we get all the way around the net. So I'm going to pause the video. I'll be back in just a second. Alright, we're back. We're getting around here to our, we're getting back around to our starting point. and we're just picking up meshes is all we're doing. You're going to notice, if you haven't already, this net is tied. I jumped a half a mesh when I started it so that whenever I got back around to my starting point, I would end a half a mesh lower than I started. So what that does is it allows me to make a seamless transition. I don't have to cut and tie back in. You see these meshes pull up. You're going to kind of see here in just a second what I'm talking about. Now when I do my half a mesh here, see how that pulls down? That comes right up to that board. I'm going to tie this knot, and then I'm going to tie straight back into here. That's because I dropped a half a mesh when I tied back in. I didn't tie my ends back even when I started. I did that on purpose. See, here's this knot here, and then we go and we pick up that first mesh that we started at the first of the video. I'm going to keep your tag end out of your knot. He is aiming to get in there and mess something up, isn't he? His whole goal in life. If you burn that tag end off, you won't have to fiddle with it. Alright, so now I'm tying back into where I started. That whole run of meshes is complete. Well, that run of half meshes is complete. And I'm picking up in the mesh that I've already tied. So, the anatomy of a hook net and the placement of your hooks. I suppose now is just as good a time as any to go over that. A hook net usually has, you can get 7 hooks, you can get 5 hooks. A turtle net is a type of hook net, and they've only got 4 maybe. Hook net usually, I like a 5 hook. I hand towel my webbing. I think it fishes better. It takes longer to do if you're on a commercial scale and you want quantity, not quality. Then you can get some pre-hung webbing. I need to make an order of some webbing and do that. Make a video on it, how to do that. I'm not that great at it because I don't have a lot of practice. It's going to look like it's cobbled together, but it'll work. I'm sure with more practice you could do a better job than I could. But I hand towel my webbing, and I like to fish a smaller net. I love a 36-inch, 1.5-inch mesh. For me, that's perfect. That's what I want to fish. Unfortunately, I live in Texas. Texas does not allow you to use nets. So why would I make gear that I can't use? It's just a hobby. I can't answer that. I just love making webbing. So I don't love it to the point where I want to hand hang a 7-hook net. I don't fish them. I don't particularly care for them. I don't care for anything smaller than 1.5 inches because it takes too long to tie. I say that, and I've got a video with 3/8-inch mesh on a cast net. Hook net's going to have a mouth, which is going to be the biggest hook. And usually that's where your nominal value comes from. I say a 36-inch net, it's 36 inch in diameter on the first hook. The second, third, fourth, and fifth hooks all get smaller as they go, so that way it stacks and fits inside of itself for easy storage. Your first hook is the mouth. That's what we're tying towards now. You tie your mesh, I tie my meshes from the tail back. You can tie from the mouth or from the tail forward. You can tie from the mouth and go back to the tail. It's however you want to do it, whatever you want to do. I have my reasons for starting at the tail, and it's just because I can set my initial rows and I can do 30 or so meshes, and then I can increase my mesh count as my tail gets longer until I get to 60 meshes. You can start at the mouth and do a full 60 mesh, tie it in, and then go from the mouth back, and then just decrease your mesh size. It's whatever you like to do, whatever you want to do. There's different process to it, whichever way you choose. It's like anything, man. It's your choice. You decide what you want and how you want to do it. This series is just designed. My goal is to give you a little bit of insight into how I do it. And I'm sorry for the video quality. It's not that great. I shoot it all by myself with a cell phone. Well, my wife helps me some. But we just, so your second hook, your first hook is always your mouth. Your second hook is your first throat, which is what you see here in this video. This is your primary throat. This is the body of the net that I'm tying now. I'm tying back in to tie the body out to the mouth. So your second hook is your first throat. A 7-hook net will have a hook between the throats. A 5-hook will have the third hook will be the second throat. I'm tying this as a 5-hook. So I'm going to have a mouth, a hook on this throat, a hook on the second throat, a hook in the middle of what I call the catch chamber, the catch bin, and then a hook on the tail. So that makes 5 hooks. A 7-hook is going to have an extra one in there between the throats and an extra one in there in the catch chamber. It makes them a little bit longer, makes them have more volume, have a bigger catch area. If you're going to be checking this thing every 2 or 3 days, you can get by with a 5-hook. If you're fishing somewhere with big webbing or big fish, the bigger the net, really the bigger, a 3-foot works well on 5 hooks. You get a 4-foot net, or you get big mesh. You really need more hooks in it. So, but we'll get into all that when we go to tying the hooks. I'm going to continue on. This is just rinse and repeat. All I'm doing is tying web until I get back to my mouth. And when I get to the mouth of the net, it's going to be time to make hooks. There's no special anything you need to do. I'm going 7 meshes between the hooks, which means between this throat and this throat, there are 7 meshes or 14 half meshes. So we'll look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, there's my 7 meshes. I'm going to go 7 meshes to the mouth. And the next video in this series is going to be tying the walls for the leads on this net, or the wings. So that's what's going to be up next. If you like these videos, again, like, subscribe, hit that bell to get notifications. Drop me a comment. Let me know if you have questions. Please let me know. I'll be glad to help any way I can. Again, go check out Black Trapper, the Black Trapper. I'm going to link to his channel. Real cool dude. He does some real outdoorsy stuff. He's got a real cool video about gill nets. He takes a bucket and he sets a gill net out and he catches, could catch some fish. I don't think he leaves his gill net out that long, but he's running gill nets without a boat, which is pretty cool, actually, in a little farm pond. Check your local laws. Again, in Texas, you can't run hook nets in public water anyway, and they don't work real well in farm ponds. So, hence the wings and the leads and all that kind of stuff. So, go check that out. Like, subscribe, hit that bell, and we will be back eventually.